Okay. Ooh.
Okay.
Oh my God. Hi, friends.
Hi.
Hello.
We haven't talked in a minute.
I know.
Lara,
I've
you
been
look like
sad.
extra blonde today.
Thank you. Well, I did dye my hair.
I don't think I knew you got a haircut.
Yeah. Well, when I got my hair cut, I also spent a ton of money to get slightly blonder.
Yeah, it looks super blonde today.
Yeah. Thank you. I never know what to say when people are like, it looks so much blonder. I'm like,
No, you can just be like,
thank you.
neutral. Yeah, neutral
Yeah.
response.
Yeah.
You can. What if you just were like, thanks for pointing that out. Thanks for
Or like,
noticing."
yeah.
Thanks
thank you
for that
noticing.
observation.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
mean,
I normally say thank you.
Considering that you spent money on it, I mean, I guess it is a thank you.
That's true. And I do like my hair and the cut of it. I really love the cut. I will forever be getting this cut, I think.
Yeah. I feel the
Until
same way about responses though, about when you don't want to say I'm sorry, but there's no other filler word.
Mm-hmm.
I feel the same way about that.
You just
Sorry.
say thank you.
No, well, I'm sorry is a different.
Oh, yeah. yeah. No, I copy that.
We just interchange thank you.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry.
Oh man. No, but a good haircut can do wonders.
True.
I agree.
True. Well,
agree.
welcome to Fuck Wellness, everyone.
Woohoo.
Welcome.
I'm Mallory.
I'm Lara.
And I'm McKenna.
Woo.
And today I'm in kind of a weird spot in our house, but I have just I felt really overheated. I needed to be by the window or else I was going to get really grumpy.
I feel like sometimes the first few days of true spring, when you're inside, it feels stifling to be inside.
Yeah. Yeah. I went outside with pants on earlier and I had to immediately walk home and take off my pants.
Yeah.
Because it was
Yeah,
stifling.
it's cold here.
Really?
Like, how cold?
It was like 50s and windy today.
Ooh.
We had to table outside for work and I was chilled to the bone by the end.
Dang.
It felt like November, December DC weather. It did not feel like May 1st weather.
What is your guys' ideal temperature range?
That's such a hard question, McKenna. Why would you ask me that?
I feel like this is my favorite thing to know about people.
I feel like I'm a 72 degree girl.
I'm like a 60, 64.
That's cold.
Yeah.
I run hot though. I'm always sweating.
I'm always cold.
I'm always sweating.
I would have to agree with, the 60 to 65 range.
Yeah, I mean, I think
That's
it
my favorite.
depends. Like, if I were to live in the mountains, I would fully be thrilled with 60 to 70 degrees. But if I'm talking just like the temperature I'm most comfortable at, I feel like I'm more of like a 72. Although, fun fact, did you know that the temperature you sleep best at is 65 degrees?
That is fun.
Studies
I love
have
sleeping with
shown.
cold.
Yeah, I can only sleep in cold.
Same until it's our house in the summer, and then
I'm gonna keep my mouth shut because I'm not complaining about the heat this summer.
No, McKenna's a fucking martyr this summer because she's not complaining about the heat, and I can't commit to that.
No, it's really only because I don't want to be so annoying to everyone around me. Internally, I'm
gonna be
fuming.
annoying. I'll take that burden for both of us.
Thank you for that.
Of course.
Any pressing updates that you guys need to share? We have lots of gab time this month.
Mal, go.
Ryan got a job offer today, an official one. Yeah. I'm not going to say too much more on the podcast, but I'll tell you guys afterwards. But like full offer.
Oh my God.
He starts in July.
Oh, he accepted.
He's gonna do it.
Yeah.
Whoa.
It was his top choice. Yeah.
Oh my God,
we knew it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Of course it was. That's so amazing.
Yeah.
Good for him.
Yeah. So I
Oh,
think
And for
he
you,
feels like
because what's his is yours technically in a few months.
Yeah,
Just
yours, mine,
kidding.
and ours. And what's yours is ours. So it's all of ours.
yeah,
This is
and I
a win
will
for the
say,
group.
I think when we realized today that our like combined income is going to be like double the national average, I was like, wow, that's
Yeah.
cool.
Okay, flex.
Yeah,
God
for
damn. Go
real.
go
I mean,
off,
I wasn't
y'all.
aiming for that. It just, we were like, oh, the median. And we're quite a bit above that.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, that was a
mean,
big update.
Money is sometimes power. So
That's
go
a
off.
huge update.
Ryan's
Oh,
not
don't
here
make
to
that
give it,
face. But sometimes it is.
no, it is.
We were talking today about how I was talking to my volleyball friends or fellow coaches and how one of them was like, one of them said something along the lines of like, you know, when people don't have good jobs, I don't even know how they can eat. And I'm like, yeah, that's why I work 4 fucking jobs. I'm just like, I don't know.
That have
Scary times,
what?
but good times. That don't have good jobs can afford to eat.
Okay. Sorry, I didn't hear that
Yeah,
one
like
part.
afford their grocery bill.
Mm.
So
Yeah,
yeah, that's exciting news.
Yeah. And
I'm
he'll
so
be
proud of
working
him.
right in Foggy Bottom.
Oh my God. So this is the
Really?
official announcement that you guys are going to stay for a little while.
Oh, well, yeah. Yeah. For a little, yeah. For a while. Yeah.
Okay.
His job technically is fully remote, but he wants, like, they have an office that he can go into.
Oh, nice.
And I
Wow,
mean,
that's
our
ideal.
apartment
Yeah.
is not ideal work from home environment. So,
No.
yeah.
Wow. That's so
Anyway.
exciting.
Okay. Any updates on either of your ends? Lara, has your
Literally
course
none.
started?
No, it starts in 2 days. Tomorrow. It starts tomorrow.
Oh my gosh, I can't wait to hear how it goes.
But your
Yeah,
very
I'm
first
excited.
meeting is tomorrow.
Well, yeah, our first class.
Oh my God.
We had our first meeting, but our first class, and yeah, I'm nervous. It's kind of like first day of school vibes, where I'm like, well, will I make any friends or will everyone hate me?
It'll be so good.
Yeah.
Yay.
Okay. Are we ready to talk about what I'm going to talk about today?
Okay, so for
Yeah,
the
give
next
some
3
background.
episodes,
Go off.
for the next 3 episodes, we all are picking a topic, and it doesn't necessarily have to be a wellness topic. It could really be any topic that we find interesting, and we're going to do a deep dive on it. We've done episodes like this before, but Lara is going to lead it, and I will say we gave her about 24 hours notice before this. So
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, excited to hear what she came up with in that time.
It was kind of like I don't know, like a challenge. Like I got the text like, can you go in 24 hours? And then I was like, I have to like run and get all my supplies ready.
Do you
I'm
want us
watching.
to? Yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead. Oh, I was just going to say that I'm watching a spy show right now and I feel like it's like tag, you're activated.
Yeah.
Like now it's time for you to
The
report.
countdown begins.
Yeah.
Literally. Do you want us to try to guess, or do you feel like we would never be
Oh,
able
man.
to guess this?
Well, okay, I'm gonna say one thing and then you're gonna have to guess because I love when we guess on here.
And is it like a topic?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Okay. Okay.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah. Okay, so the first thing I will say, if you're, I mean, we have a few topics that touch on this stuff. If you're listening to this and you're like, I'm feeling pretty freaking fragile about hearing any noise regarding food, weight loss, body image, I would maybe skip the rest of this episode.
Dang.
Intermittent fasting.
This is like this is impossible. This is picking,
No. But y'all, when I
But
say
think
it,
about
I
it.
think that you'll be like, oh my God, of course. It's
Gwyneth
like,
Paltrow.
it's been big on the news front, big on the social medias front.
Okay.
I have never talked to either of you about it though, which is interesting. But I've talked to like my coworkers about it. I've heard, things on podcasts about it. It is a medication.
Oh, like the weight
Easy
loss
peasy.
medication.
What's it called?
something.
Try again.
Just start with an O or a D.
Oh,
Ozempic.
Yeah.
yay. We're talking about Ozempic today.
Okay.
Okay.
I have seen a lot about this. So you're
Yeah.
right.
Well, weird that we've never talked about it as
I feel like we could,
even
I don't know. I
friends.
feel like we all are kind of like, I don't know. Yeah. I don't know.
What are we going to say?
I just feel like now that we are on this part of our healing journey, I feel like this stuff doesn't come up that often.
Yeah.
Because it's like, if I see that, I'm not going to be like, oh, Lara McKenna, have you tried Ozempic? It's like, I know how we all feel about it. So it's not like a point of discussion that often.
Yeah.
But
it's
I'm
like
excited.
we would know that we were preaching to the choir. So why even bring it up?
Yeah.
Kind of a thing. Yeah.
I do have something really fast. If you guys can just hold on. I'm going to chat something really fast.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay.
Oh, you're going to chat something.
I'm going to
I
chat
thought that was your way of saying like, I'm going to say something right now.
No, this just can't be on the pod. I don't even want to say it out loud. So we don't have to edit it out.
Send it. Okay. I'm not worried about that. So yeah. We are going to drive right in to Ozempic land. I just kind of feel like talking about this. I think it's going to be interesting because I want to talk a little bit about Ozempic, like what it is, what's happening with it. But also I just kind of want to talk about some of like the thoughts that have been coming up into my brain in the past 24 hours as I've tried to learn more about it. Because I do think, Mal, you're right. Like in the past when it's brought to my attention, like, oh yeah, there's this thing, Ozempic, people are getting injected, whatever. I'm just kind of like, okay, like it's just the next thing in my brain where it's like, okay, we had diet pills, we had caffeine pills, we had diuretic tea. Like there's always going to be another thing that's just going to be even though all of those are different, obviously, it's just kind of like the same noise in my brain that I'm trying to be in an effort to be neutral about all that stuff. I try and keep it neutral in my brain, but
I feel the same exact way about that.
Yeah.
And also I feel like when I just haven't been engaging with any of the content. So everything that you tell me will be new information for my brain because it just feels like, this is going to sound maybe bad, but it's like, do I have a responsibility to be knowledgeable about this? I think on some level, but like a little bit, but also I don't really want to hear about it.
No, you get to engage with what you want to engage with. Like, no, I don't think
and
you
I
have
think
any responsibility.
Yeah, I think that diet pills have also been obviously different, but an elusive kind of topic in the past because I never realized how many people use diet pills.
Yeah.
You know, like I just, it wasn't ever in my awareness. And so
you only hear about it when it goes like wrong.
Yeah. And so I think my brain was like, oh, this is just a more public thing that people have latched onto.
Yes.
Okay. Tell us about it.
Okay. So I'm going to just tell you about it. I do just like, I feel like I'm going to go through, and Ken, I agree. Also, I will say a lot of people in the research that I did talked a lot about Ozempic TikTok, where I have not seen a single TikTok about Ozempic just because I like hit not interested, like my life depends on it whenever it's anything like that. And in the effort of researching for this pod, I was like, oh, I should look up like hashtag Ozempic or something on TikTok. And then I was immediately like, no, please, I'm not going to do that. Okay. So if you're just hearing this word for the first time ever, Ozempic is an FDA approved prescription medication for treatment of type 2 diabetes. Did we know this? Yes. Okay, awesome.
Yeah.
It's proven to lower hemoglobin A1C. Cool.
Nice.
Oh, it helps, important note, it helps adults with type 2 diabetes and known heart disease lower their risk for cardiovascular events like stroke or heart attack. No one wants a stroke. No one wants a heart attack. So that's great. The active compound in Ozempic, which is in a lot of other drugs that are similar, but Ozempic is just kind of like the hot brand name right now. The active compound is semaglutide, and it is a GLP-1 or a glucagon-like peptide 1 receptor agonist. Now, at this point, I wish that we could like cut to a scientist who could talk to us, or like your Dr. Mal who could like draw a picture and like tell us why a
Lara,
receptor
you
agonist
are a chemical engineer.
Yes, but yeah, no, I'm not gonna.
You're the closest thing to a scientist we have on the podcast.
No, I'll just call you Marie. Okay, it works by activating GLP-1 receptors throughout the body and enhancing the effects of the naturally occurring hormone GLP-1. Okay, so that's some good things. It's an injection, self-administered injection, which also another reason why I would steer clear of any such video is because I can't watch people inject themselves on video.
Yeah, that's hard.
Very personally, I don't love that. But yes, it's once weekly and it comes in different doses. It is not insulin. It rarely causes low blood sugar. Okay, cool. I was thinking about this today because I feel like diabetic issues are something that I've known a few people who have like had type 1 or type 2, but I don't know all that much about the science with diabetic issues. Like, I know treatment of diabetic issues. Like, I know that, you just get them like a sugar thing. Hopefully not like a fructose thing, but something more of like a glucose thing.
Yeah, because of their blood sugar.
Right. But beyond that, I don't know a whole lot.
I don't either.
Was that where you were waiting for us to say all the things we knew about diabetes?
Yeah. And I was trying to kind of skim my printout.
Well, diabetes, you can't produce, or you produce minimally insulin, right?
Yeah. Right. But what is the difference between type 1 and type 2?
One of them is a genetic.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
I think type 1. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then type 2 is what?
I'm going to put lifestyle in quotations, but
you know what? Something that really confuses me? Gestational diabetes.
Oh, I wrote a whole paper about this.
Really? Can you explain it?
Well, yeah, I mean, it is kind of what it sounds like. But like, if you have diabetes before you get pregnant, it can get even worse during pregnancy and impact like your birth and the like safety of your birth. And also, if you don't have diabetes before, pregnancy can be a really high risk time and it can cause gestational diabetes. But interestingly, if you don't have it before, you could get gestational diabetes, but then it would go away after your pregnancy. So it doesn't necessarily stay after.
Yeah. But I've also known people who, I feel like when we think about like, quote, lifestyle diabetes, like we think about people who are maybe not having access to a ton of like super nutritious foods or whatever it might be. And I don't think that's always the case.
No.
It's like, it's so nuanced. Like I know people who've had gestational diabetes that are like, I don't know, not the opposite of whatever you might have in your head of that image, like it just happens sometimes.
And to be clear, like I've gotten tests that say I'm pre-diabetic. My mom has gotten tests that say she's pre-diabetic. So like, I think kind of throw a lot of the stereotypes you think of out the window, because it's a lot more nuanced than, oh, that person is clearly has type 2 diabetes.
Yeah.
I was listening to this podcast with a GP from the UK, and they were just talking about how like the term pre-diabetic is, and I did not fact check this at all, but they said that it's only really a term that's thrown around in the US, and that it's like everyone else
so interesting
in the world thinks that it's just made up. Like that is a made up term.
It does feel a little fear mongery because like when my mom got like tested whatever, that she was pre-diabetic. I remember her like panicking about eating less sugar and like, oh, she needs to cut out some fruits. And I was like, Mom, like,
Fruits.
No.
There's
well,
a war on fruits right now, I will have to say.
there is, but it wasn't like a diet culture gene at all. Like, I think she was just like worried. But I remember being like, Mom, like this being pre-diabetic does not, like, if you have to change your diet, like everyone has to change their diet. Like my mom eats the most fueled meals on the whole planet. So anyway, it was just, I don't know. The point of me saying that was, yeah, I don't know where I was going with that. Never mind.
To summarize, let's not apply stereotypes
Yeah.
to type 2 diabetes.
Yes.
Oh my gosh, of course not. Also, no, scratch that. Never mind. Continuing on with my document.
Yes.
Also, I'll give you citations. I'll give citations. Okay. So Ozempic, it's more about the drug. It is the company that makes Ozempic is Novo Nordisk. And because of these studies, like whatever, it's been around for honestly a while. And this topic has been talked about. People were talking about this in like 2021. I only heard of it in definitely 2023.
Yeah.
But the FDA approved a different brand name of the same thing called Wegovy for weight loss. Ozempic cannot be prescribed for weight loss. Wegovy can be prescribed for weight loss. And like that, I feel like people are talking about Wegovy, but they just say Ozempic. So like all the jokes, like there was like a Grammy joke about like, oh my God, everyone here looks so good. Like whoever the presenter was like joking about that he should get on Ozempic. And then like Elon Musk has tweeted, people talk all the time about the Kardashians using Ozempic, whatever. I think that they're talking about like they're actually using Wegovy, but whatever. The point is that it basically people can get prescribed Wegovy for weight loss. Ozempic can be covered by insurance. Often Wegovy is not, which I guess is interesting. But basically this high demand from people using the drug for weight loss has, and people will argue this by being like, no, it's not that. But like the demand for this drug has gone so up out of the roof that it has to be because of a demand that is different than the type 2 diabetes market. You know what I mean? So demand has gone way up. This Novo Nordisk is cashing out. Like they are doing so well. They have they just have extremely low inventory and supply chain problems out the bumhole because all of these people who have money and who want to try it for weight loss or for other reasons different than having type 2 diabetes are all getting their hands on it, and it's taking it out of the hands of people with type 2. So, yeah, kind of a problem.
Wait,
Yeah.
how can you be prescribed it without having diabetes?
People are just writing prescriptions.
For themselves?
No, for other people.
But if it's the same drug just with a different name slapped on it, why wouldn't they just do the other kind? Not
Well, they're
Ozempic?
trying as well.
Oh, okay.
The people with
So-
type 2 are literally trying to get their hands on Wegovy. They can't even get their hands on Wegovy. Like,
Okay, so
because it does a similar thing.
Okay, so maybe is it fair to say like diet culture inspired like a clean out of both types? Every possible stock
semi-glutide
of this
thing. Yes.
Yeah.
Any name
Okay.
brand. There's just such a short supply right now because
Well, that's terrifying.
people are, yeah, it is terrifying. And it's also like really horrible for people who need it to stay alive, you know?
Mm-hmm.
They can't even get it. or they're waiting long amounts of time, or they're having to take it off and on. Like they'll get it for 2 months and then they'll not be able to get it for another 4 months.
Oh my God.
And this drug is it needs to be taken like weekly, like consistently for it to have the desired effects. So, yeah, definitely not great. And, I want to kind of like, I kind of think that in my brain right now, I'm trying really hard to be like, that is where the problem stops, kind of. Like, I think that it is absolutely not okay that people who do not need this drug to survive are getting this drug because they want it for a different reason. But I don't know. I think that I have like a really, right now, it's going back to that neutrality thing where I'm like, that is the only problem there. If there was unlimited quantities of this drug and people wanted to take it because it had an effect on their life and they were not a person with type 2, I'm like, it's hard for my brain to do this because of like the world that we're in, but I'm trying hard to have it be like, and it stops there. Like, I think it's shitty that that's happening, but also like if people want to do what they want to do, that's their business, kind of a thing. And it's really hard to think that because I want to be like, well, you should not do that for those reasons. You should love your body. But it's like, no, it's not my business.
Yeah, I totally agree. I feel like the first thing that jumped out to me though is like, maybe this is more of a prescriber problem. Like it never is the problem of the individual because we live in diet culture and it makes sense that someone would feel like they needed these pills in order to, you know, fit in, whatever, conform, you know, love their body, etc. To me, it's more like if so many people are getting this prescription, then I think that there needs to be more regulation of like, well, what are the reasons all of these people are getting these prescriptions, especially if there's a shortage.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think it's on a physician or clinician to ask the follow-up questions. If someone says, I would like to be prescribed with Ozempic, okay, let's talk more about that. Like, where is that interest coming from? Like, what are maybe some misconceptions about it? Or like, I think that's on the clinician to do that education component of it.
Yeah. I think sorry, did you have something to say, Ken?
I was just going to say that, like, I think it's also important to take another viewpoint of people wanting to maybe change their body or lose weight. I don't think it always has to do with them not liking their body, you know, or them not being comfortable in their body. I think sometimes there are people who feel very comfortable with their body and love their body, but maybe something in their body is making their joints hurt or just making some things uncomfortable or buying clothes difficult or whatever it might be. So I think that those are real impacts to day-to-day life that are, I think, a part of consideration when someone might approach a doctor for help losing weight.
Yeah. Yeah. 2 things from both of those. Those were great points. First to yours, Mal. I think that literally just the last 24 hours, like researching this stuff really has made me confront a belief in my brain that like doctors or medical professionals are like saints. Like they, you know, they have like a little ring around their head and they like make the best decisions because they save our lives. It's like, no, they are human beings. If there's a bag out there to get by prescribing Ozempic, people are going to grab it. Like people, like licensed professionals in the medical field, I'm like, oh my God, no, you're like an amazing science nerd that has spent 45 fucking years of your life studying something that's going to help me. It's like, no, they can be that, but they can also be someone who wants to abuse that power because they can, and it's not hard. And I don't think, like, I agree with you, Mal, there needs to be like some regulatory body. I'm sure there is a regulatory body, but like, you know, there's many regulatory bodies in the world that don't really quite do what their byline says. So
Laura, never get a public health degree because your world's going to be crushed.
yeah, I almost did. And then I was like, no, I can't do it. But
in your research, did you find that Ozempic is particularly good at helping people lose weight?
Let me tell you about that.
Is that the perception, but maybe not the reality?
Let me tell you about that. So it does, yes. So Ozempic sorry, what was your question? What was that?
Oh, my question was just, in your research, did you find that Ozempic was or did help people with losing weight?
Yes. Yeah,
okay.
It does. And I think that that's also like witnessed in all of the other people who are taking it, like, the people who are prescribed it for actual reasons for the type 2 diabetes, they lose weight, but also everyone else who's taking it.
And
it's like,
sorry,
yeah,
what does it do exactly for people with type 2 diabetes? Is it also used for weight loss?
Partially.
Or does it? Okay.
And then it also mostly, I think that that's more of like a side effect for them, maybe. But mostly what it is supposed to do for them is it does the whole thing with the GLP-1 receptor agonist, because those agonists, these words, because like people with type 2 diabetes have a lower hemoglobin count. And so something with like these, with Ozempic, okay, it says GLP-1 serves multiple key functions in the body. It boosts the release of insulin by the pancreas in response to food intake, which helps to control blood sugar. Likewise, it reduces the release of glucagon, a hormone that increases blood glucose, thereby also helping to control blood sugar. So that's like, those are essential functions for people with type 2. Or I guess
pancreas is very important.
Pancreas, you do need your panky. Also, I think that
this has been of can we go back to the morality of some of this just really fast?
Wait, can I ask three
sure.
follow-ups really fast that are relevant to what we were just talking
Raise
about?
Raise your hands.
Yep. Go ahead.
Okay.
I'm kind of calling you first, actually.
No, but I feel like mine are relevant to what we were just talking about Mallory, before we go back.
Go, Mallory.
Okay. Number one, are there side effects?
Yes. Of course there are.
and what are they?
Okay. Ozempic has been shown to do, the good things, such as reduce major coronary events, including heart attack, stroke, other benefits. However, Ozempic isn't safe for everyone. Conditions. No. Okay, here we go. People with the following conditions should avoid Ozempic. If you have pancreatitis, type 1 diabetes, if you're under 18, pregnant or breastfeeding, diabetic, retinopathy, problems with your pancreas or kidneys already, family history with thyroid carcinoma, Overall, it's mostly safe. However, most common side effects for everyone, and this is people who were type 2 or not, people were saying that these were very common side effects, especially during your injection day, because again, it's injected once a week. Nausea, vomiting, diarrhea, constipation. Huge on the last part. A lot of constipation happening. Since Ozempic slows your gastric emptying, so it like slows the whole process of, pooping. That's kind of like a huge reason that people feel a steady, like fullness, I guess, like that feeling, because it slows the whole process down. You can also, because of that process, if it slows too much, you get like really bad bloating. Those side effects are more short term and will, fix in a few days after that dose or after changing doses if you need to change your dose. Other less common, more serious side effects after taking Ozempic: pancreatitis, inflammation of your pancreas, very bad, vision changes, hypoglycemia or really low blood sugar, kidney problems, also an important one. If you're just have allergic reactions, like just random allergic reactions, gallbladder problems, and thyroid tumors or cancer.
Fun.
Did that answer your question?
Yeah, that was one of my 3.
Okay.
My second one is, did you see any research that the weight that is lost stays off?
Star student, Mallory. Good question.
Thank you.
And this question really, really, really hit me because I had the same question. And I was like, does the weight stay off? What's happening? You and everyone else listening would not be shocked to find out that no, it does not stay off. Like any diet, things normally try and find an equilibrium, or your body says, what the fuck did you just do to me? We're now going to put on even more weight because I'm really scared that you're going to do that to me again. So no, absolutely not. It also causes, it's also just like not been super researched, because it hasn't been around all that long in the term of drugs in general. But another thing is that because of the dramatic weight loss, people will, when they lose weight in their face after taking Ozempic, that can create like a very kind of gaunt, like sick, like you look kind of sick, or you look like you've aged a lot, because typically when we age, we like lose some of our body. So it makes people look older is what people say. And it makes a lot more wrinkles. And then when people get off the drug, like they say that that kind of effect stays with you, that you just kind of look older and like a little bit sicker. Obviously, if you're one of these Hollywood folk, you could then do whatever you wanted procedurally to kind of fix that effect. But that is a side effect that a lot of people will talk about. Hair loss is another one. People are losing all their hair. Yeah, just some of those things. But I think that it's so interesting that a lot of the podcasts about Ozempic, in kind of an effort to warn people off of like, don't do this, don't try and get prescribed this, like it's dangerous, don't do this. Their primary way of convincing their listeners is not by saying like, oh, you could get cancer, or you could like have all these health problems or whatever. You could feel so weak, you could feel sick, whatever. It's like, no, you'll lose all your hair and you won't look as good as you think you'll look. Or like, don't do it, because when you get off of it, or when it's $1,000, $2,500 a month, like when you can't take it anymore, then you're just gonna like gain all that weight plus some back. Like that is their way of like fear mongering you into not taking the drug. It's not being like, you could die sooner. It's like, you could look not cute, don't do it. Which I think is just so funny that is the world. Like that's what works. Yeah. You tell someone all their hair is gonna fall out, they're not gonna do it.
I do like my hair.
Yeah.
So you kind of answered my last one, which was just like the speed of weight loss. Like, is it happening in, you inject and you're losing like a couple pounds a month, or is it, anyway, I was curious, like the speed of which it happens.
I didn't see any, or at least the articles I read didn't talk specifically about the speed, because I do think that it varies so heavily between people. I know that one of the podcasts that I listened to that was talking about a TikTok that was made about Ozempic, that had like over 1 million views, by the way, was someone on their quote Ozempic journey who was like, it was, I wish I could remember the number, but it was like a scary amount in like a week. They had lost like multiple pounds in a week. And
is there a limit on how long it can be used?
once you're on it for life.
Whoa.
Like once people that's the thing, is like, it's kind of it's a huge commitment. And I don't think, I don't know.
Why? Because the side effects aren't they, people don't want to maybe gain the weight back?
Yeah. Or,
well, injecting yourself once a week for the rest of your life is like a big commitment.
it's huge. It's huge. And like, I think it's just purely like the Ozempic as a drug being made for people who need this, they need that for their glucose, whatever the hell levels I was talking about before. They need that for life. Like, their type 2 is not going to go away. So in an effort to control those symptoms, they do need that for life. So it gets prescribed for life. I don't know how the other people who are taking it, or if you're taking it to control, I don't know, other health symptoms that you might have, that it helps, or because you want to lose weight. I don't know what those prescriptions look like, but I'm pretty sure once you're on it, like, it's not like people are being like, oh, just take it for 6 months and then you can go off. Like, that's not happening. So it's just kind of also speaking to the fact that, like, I don't know, talking more about the people who I think are kind of, and it's hard to throw this out there because it's like, I don't want to judge people for their decisions again, but it's like, if you would imagine the type of person like, say, Kim Kardashian, who people assumed that she was on Ozempic when she lost all that weight to fit into the Marilyn dress. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
People really, speculated that she was on Ozempic for that time. If you consider someone like that, then it's like, they're not thinking like long term. You know what I mean? They're thinking about right now, needing to fit into something right now, needing to look a certain way right now, commodifying their body in a way right now. I don't think that they're really thinking so much like, what will this feel like in 70 years? Like, I don't think that's happening.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Wait, Ken, do you want to make your morality point?
Yeah. Do you want to keep going, Lara?
No, yeah, go ahead.
I just feel like I don't feel like I'm done having a conversation about the morality aspect or the judgment aspect, because and also this has been a conversation that has been kind of happening like with some of the people that I know just in my personal life, where it's like this, oh, I'm kind of nervous to talk about this. Like, this needs to be a safe circle.
It's very safe.
It's just us, right?
No one else is going to hear this.
Yeah, no one else.
So safe.
I just, I agree with Lara that it's like our opinion of this use or not use kind of needs to stop after the acknowledgement that it's not so great that people who need this medication aren't getting the medication,
yes.
right?
Yeah.
And we've already discussed, why people might want to change their body in whatever way. I guess it's just kind of nuanced, because what is healthy, what is not healthy in terms of mindset and people's own personal lives? And is it just the situation where everyone else needs to fuck off and let someone just make the decisions that they're going to make? Do you know what I'm kind of saying? Like,
can you explain it a little bit more?
Yeah. So like, let's say that there's someone who, like I was giving the example before, might exist in a larger body, but is slightly uncomfortable because of the pain that it's bringing some of their joints. So they talk to their doctor and they come up with the decision to go on Ozempic, versus somebody who is already conventionally in a smaller body, making the decision with the doctor to become even smaller because they want to for aesthetic reasons.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like it's hard to think about all the examples under that umbrella and then come up with an opinion about how you feel about all of it.
I
Yeah,
agree.
I don't think that's a hot take at all. I feel like
I just want to be, it feels like a very gentle place to prod into, you know, like I don't want to be like, because I guess the biggest question I'm leading up to is like, is the desire to be thinner bad?
no.
It's a great question. And I don't think that we can say.
Yeah.
I mean, bad is so subjective too.
Right.
You know? Like bad for your health, maybe for some people, like,
Yeah.
I don't know. It's, yeah, I feel like there's a lot of nuance to that.
It's also, sorry, Ken, go ahead.
No, you go.
I just like, I think that the way multiple things are coming up well, okay, first I'll say, I think that sometimes when talking about stuff like this, like when talking about like fad diets or intermittent fasting or like anything like that, because personally I feel like I was at like a point A and I'm now at like a point C somewhere else in terms of my journey with like disordered thoughts about my body, disordered thoughts about eating food, all of that. Like, I feel like I've come to like a different point in my life where I'm pretty proud of myself looking back. And that growth, sometimes it feels tempting to just be like, oh my God, like, why would anyone ever do a fast? That's so this, that's so that. Like, oh my God, shame on them. But then I'm also like it feels weird because it's like that's their body, that's their choice. Again, not really my shit. But also I'm like, we need to all collectively buy in as a feminist, family that we are body positive and like, we do not subscribe to diet culture. But it's like, no, we are always kind of like in a world subscribing to diet culture. So if I sometimes have thoughts that are not good, or I hear people having thoughts or procedures that like in my body would not feel good, it's hard to not judge them. But it's also like part of getting to point C is leaving people to have their own journeys. And if they're at point A and I'm at point C, did that make sense at all?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I feel like asking, is a desire to be thinner bad, is actually asking the wrong question, because I feel like we don't live in a world where information is ubiquitous for everyone, or where everyone is getting the same information. I feel like, to your guys' points, like it's easy for us to be like, that's bad. But like we live in a world where like I realize every single day how much people are not following the same people on Instagram that I follow, or are getting much of this different information. And so like if everyone had all of the information and could come to whatever conclusion they want to come to, I think I would feel differently. I think the question is never an individual question for me. I think whatever individuals like feel like is the best for them is the best for them. I feel like I always take more of a system approach to this, is like, how can we get more education and information to people so that they can make the best choice for them? Because I don't think we're always putting people in positions where they can make that choice for themselves. Like for me, it's never like, oh, your decision to take Ozempic is wrong. Like for me, I'm more like, well, let's look at the systems level approach of like, how are we giving people the most accurate information and making sure that they feel equipped to make decisions about their health when maybe their doctor does not have their best interest at heart. So to me, those feel like like kind of two different questions.
Mm-hmm. I guess it's also looking at this a system that has been so heavily skewed with messaging in one direction.
Yeah.
And then being surprised that people want to do things that lead them in that direction.
Yeah.
You know, like it's not an even playing ground.
Well, and I remember like everyone on like anti-diet Instagram when Lizzo did the like promo for like a diet shake. Do you guys remember that?
Yeah.
And everyone was like so angry about it. And then the like second round of like processing was like, well, maybe Lizzo has been discriminated against for her body for most of her life. And like, who are we to say like she, one, shouldn't make money off of that partnership, but like two, she can do whatever she wants. Like it's her body. And if she feels like that is serving her, great. And I feel like that was a really kind of like interesting roundabout is like, well, maybe the systems like that put Lizzo in that place are not Lizzo's fault. Like Lizzo is making the decisions that are best for her in that moment.
Yeah. Wow. This whole it's also, by the way, this whole conversation has been so fascinating. I made myself a nice little fun drink and I haven't even had a sip of it.
No, go
Our
get
whole
it.
podcast. Because I've just been so wrapped up in this theme.
Enthralled.
It's honestly been enthralling.
Well, I want to share a little story because I feel like this is applicable. So today, Lara and I went to a new coffee shop in town to work for a little while. And when we walked in, I like slyly gave Lara my phone and was like, the person sitting at this table is TikTok famous. And I'm aware of this person. She always pops up on my TikTok feed. I really like her. I think she's super cool. And I had awareness that she was moving to Boulder. So it wasn't like shocking to see her. Like it wasn't, and she wasn't someone that I follow that's like my favorite person ever. So it wasn't like, oh my God, like it's so exciting to see you in real life kind of thing. But she is an ultra runner. And she moved to Boulder because she's going back to school for her PhD. And
she's also a chemie.
Yeah. And recently she had a video that she posted where she basically was explaining that when she opened up her TikTok one day, she saw like two videos back to back. One was from a friend of hers on TikTok that was announcing that she was going into like a calorie deficit, a cut before summer to like lose weight. And this person was like, made the point that she was like, I instantly unfollowed. And then the next video had a very similar vibe. And she was like, I also instantly unfollowed because I just don't have space for that in my life. And the comments on this TikTok video of her saying I was not okay with these diet culture things that these other people were posting were brutal on her. Like not a single person agreed with her when I was looking at the comments that she, you know, whatever. They were like, I see nothing wrong with someone posting a video saying I'm intentionally losing weight for summer. And I just thought it opened up a really interesting, I don't know, thought process inside of myself, because it is kind of that thing where it's like, what are you responsible for versus what are you not? Is it wrong for someone to want to lose weight before summer? No. Is it sad to me that it feels like that's what people feel like they have to do? Yeah. But is it fair for us to publicly comment on someone engaging in behavior like that feels a little bit toxic on a public platform? I don't know.
But I also think you're fully allowed to unfollow anyone that isn't serving like your current journey. But I think the difference is like, does that need to be a public thing? The other thing I was going to say too, and this is again, like more on like an education component, but I feel like with Ozempic, I've been thinking a lot about like how thinner is not always the same thing as healthier. Like, you know, thinking about, okay, sure, Ozempic could cause you to lose weight, but like, how is your cholesterol afterwards? Like, how is your blood pressure? There's like so many other measures of health other than that too. So, I mean, I would hope a doctor would have that conversation with a patient being like, okay, fine, we can prescribe you Ozempic, but let's also use some other measures like as a part of that. Okay, Lara. Yeah.
I also, sorry, Lara, just one
Yeah.
little baby comment. I think, oh, I lost it. I lost it in my head. Come back.
Massage your ears.
Like this?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I think
It works.
I think I have the trailhead here to throw it back to last week, but I lost it. Don't roll your eyes at me. Don't roll your eyes. Oh, okay. So I'm thinking about being thinner. Like, this is my thought process here. I'm thinking about someone deciding to become or want to be thinner. Here we go. We've decided like it's not necessarily a bad thing to want personally to lose weight, let's say. And maybe this is a pessimistic view, but I think that the population of people that are able to reconcile with that decision of I want to be intentional about potentially losing weight versus I want to be intentional about pursuing a healthier life, whether or not that impacts weight. I don't know if there's an ability to do that in a completely healthy way that doesn't stem somewhat from like fat phobia or hatred of our bodies. Do you guys know what I mean?
So you're saying like from a health only perspective, it's always going to have a tint of fat phobia in it?
No, I'm saying the other way, from a weight only perspective.
From a weight only perspective.
Yeah, like if I came to you guys,
yes.
and I was like, I want to lose weight. We've decided nothing's wrong with me wanting to do that necessarily. But I just don't think that maybe there's a small percentage of people that's able to do that in a way that's neutral to their bodies and loving to their bodies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
I
think
we've
maybe
been conditioned with fat phobia that people should want to lose weight because losing weight equates to being hotter. Everyone wants to be hotter.
Right. Or being thin is better. And even like my default response, like when I think about the lifestyle that I'm pursuing right now, losing weight or like, I guess my go-to thought process is always rooted in diet culture. It's always, if I do this thing, XYZ thing, if I am exercising this way, if I'm eating this way, then I'll be more thin. And I constantly have to override that with no, like, sure, that might happen or it might not happen at all. And doing movement that I like shouldn't hinge on the fact that that is a potential or not.
Yeah.
But that's not my go-to. My go-to response is always better if I look thinner, or in an outfit if I look thinner. There's always, my brain gets like that hit of you're doing well.
Ding.
Kind of thing. Yeah.
Ding. Yeah.
And I have to actively be like, nope. Like, and then let my internal narrative take over.
Yeah. I mean, I think all that we can do is just keep educating people on it in whatever capacity we feel like we can.
Okay. So good. The things being said. I think going back to my thing about how like I thought medical professionals were all like 10 out of 10 humans. There is such, and I'm going to link the podcast of the UK GP person who was talking about this, but they made such a good point to say like, there is especially in the US, but everywhere in the world, there's a different healthcare system set up for people who are thin or not thin. It's a whole different system. Different if you're white or not white. Different if you're employed or not employed. Trans or not trans. Like, it's a totally different system. And it's so naive of me to think like, oh, medical professionals, like, they are above all of this fray. Like, no, they are in the mess with us. And if the world is fat phobic, if the world is transphobic, if the world is all this, all that, the medical field is going to mirror that.
Yep.
And like, I think that it's kind of sad because we're like, oh my gosh, yes, if these people were educated, you know, if the people who were getting prescribed Ozempic were really educated by their medical professionals that like, oh, well, maybe this could have this effect or that effect or whatever, then maybe they would make a different decision. But that's not the world that we're living in. We're living in a world with a bunch of medical professionals who are not weight neutral at all, who are heavily like informed by their patient's weight. And it could be like, oh, well, you have this medical illness. Well, you should probably just lose weight. Well, you probably just have to lose weight. Like, that's such a common thing for people in larger bodies to hear. And it's like, yeah, it'd be great if people could be informed and educated and have all the information, but like, you know, the doctors aren't saints either. And they are in a fat phobic world also. And
they're grappling with their own identity within that world.
Yeah. And so it's so interesting that that's the medical world now, where we were like, oh my God, finally, like, it's so cool that we have access to like science nerds that can help us with our bodies. But because that they are not, you know, above the chaos either, we're all in the mess. People, I think, honestly, this and a lot of other reasons are turning away from being like, oh, I should consult my doctor before doing this or that. It's more like, let's consult social media and then do it. It's like, let's consult this person I follow who I really like their body and I want to look like them. That, and just like, I don't know. I feel like our generation, especially, there's such a distrust in like, or I guess not a distrust, but like going to the doctor. It's like, you kind of have to like a la carte it. Like, I heard about this. Can you please like do this test on me? Like, can you not weigh me, please? Can you not tell me my weight? Like, you have to like, so like self customize it almost, because there's a distrust in what's happening. And I feel bad for the people going to the doctor. I feel also bad for the doctors who are kind of like, I'm the professional. Can you just let me do my thing? But there's also people who are going in being like, I saw this TikTok of this person who's prescribed this and that and does this and that. Like, can you do that for me? Like, I'm paying you, you do that for me, kind of a thing. And then it sucks also because most doctors can, you know, unlike the beautiful experience, Mal, that you had, they have 3 minutes to sit down with you.
Yeah.
That's all. And if you want more than 3 minutes, then you're paying out of pocket 100%.
Yeah. I feel like the rational side of me is like, well, you just go up a system level. You educate them better in med school. And then I'm like, you know, it's like, I think it's hard because I'm not a pessimist. I'm an optimist. And I'm always like, well, we could be doing it better. But I agree. Like, I think it's a really good point to remember that, like, we're all products of our environment, like, regardless of your role. And I do feel like younger doctors are better at this
I was
stuff.
going to make that point, like thinking about an education that takes so long to get maybe in front of you, I think has delayed this process a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah. So I do feel like the younger doctors that I've worked with are a little bit more like weight neutral in some ways. This is not across the board, certainly, but just in the a few experiences that I've had. But yeah, I mean, it's a tough sitch.
Yeah, I don't really know how to conclude this episode.
I'm literally just thinking of, do you guys ever listen to Sounds Like a Cult?
Yes.
Okay.
Mal, I just started it.
Okay. It's one of my favorite podcasts.
It's so good. I love it so good. Much.
But the end,
everything's a cult now. I'm like, I literally work at a cult. The world is a cult. We're a cult. Everything's a cult.
I listen to other cult podcasts, but I need to try this one out.
Well, it's not, it's sort of like, they do like the cult of Peloton or the cult of Apple. But at the end,
I'm caring about the fucked up cults. Like the big
they
time.
don't really talk about those as much.
Okay.
No.
But at the end of every episode, they ask if the cult is a like live your life, if it's a watch your back, or if it's a get the fuck out. So I'm curious for Ozempic, do we feel like which one do we feel like it is? I'm just gonna TM that this is coming straight from sounds like a cult. So if they're trademarked, go listen
And
to
we
their
came up with
podcast.
those questions,
Yeah.
and they're ours. I kind of think it's a watch your back.
I think so too.
What about you, Ken?
I don't feel like I can vote because I have I don't really understand.
So just think about it as like, is it a live your life where like, you don't really need to worry
What if we
too
just
much
said
about
the words
it.
again? Think about it as if it's a live your life, a watch your back, or a get the fuck out.
Yeah. So like get the fuck
so
out.
how
would
you
be
should
like,
engage with it.
Yeah. Get the fuck out would be like,
You need to, ditch this.
like maybe the Boy
Extremely
Scouts sometimes.
Yeah.
Fuck. I guess like I feel like I agree with a watch your back.
Yeah, I agree. Because I think that there are, like, as we've talked about, there are reasons to do it. And there are also like things you should consider in that decision.
Yeah. I also just think like it would be extremely gaslighty of me to get on here and be like, this is so horrible that people are doing this for the wrong reasons, and the wrong reasons equal weight loss because of they want to look thinner. Like that would be hypocritical of me to say, because I've had thoughts about my weight that I don't love. I've done things with food and exercise that I don't love. And it really sucks when sometimes, and we talk about this as roommates a lot, like when those thoughts come up, or when you have bad day, bad body image day, bad week, bad whatever. And like Mal, you've spoken about this a lot in your newsletter so vulnerably, but it's like we all have those thoughts. And if we all just gaslight each other into thinking that we're all never thinking like that, we're going to feel even worse about ourselves. So like,
totally.
Yeah.
It's a big topic.
This was a good one, Lara.
Yeah,
this was a really thought-provoking topic.
Thanks. It was a fun project for me to do in the last 24 hours.
You did great considering the time restraints.
Thanks.
Yeah. Okay,
Wow,
thanks
so
for
exciting.
listening.
Thanks. Love you.
Bye. Wait 1 sec.